See me and hear me. Okay. My name is Crystal Boo. If you have not been on this live event before, my name is Crystal Boo, and I'm just happy to be here with you guys. Happy to see you. Happy to meet you. Okay. All right. So hold on one second. Let me. I messed up something here. Let me fix it. Okay. So we're back, you guys. So thank you for joining me. I'm Crystal Boo. And this is Trauma Talks, weekly live, Monday live. Okay. And today we're going to the final stage. Okay. All right. This is the final stage. We're going to talk about giving, right? You guys, giving without guilt. Okay. Giving without guilt. All right. Because when we give, the Bible says, you know, we're supposed to give, not begrudgingly or of necessity. In order for us to really give from the right space, you have to give not begrudgingly, not of necessity, because God loves what? A cheerful giver. Okay, so I'm Crystal Booth, and this is our weekly live that we've been doing, on, you know, getting to the point where money is not painful for us any longer. Because as long as money is painful for you, you're going to push money away, not even knowing it. Isn't that unfortunate? You're going to push it away and not even realize, okay. So, welcome, everyone. Welcome. All right. I'm not going to belabor this. I want to get right in with you. Tonight, we're going to be talking about something that sounds really simple, though, you guys. But for so many people, it feels almost impossible to do this, to be able to give without feeling guilt. All right. Because a lot of times, you want to give, but then you're like, I need to do this, I need to do that, and you're worried about your money, and it makes sense, you know what I mean? Um, but when you give with guilt, it's you kind of defeat the purpose of giving because you have to give not begrudgingly. Okay. So not just giving, receiving without discomfort too. So you need to be able to give, right? And we're not just talking about money either, too. We're talking about giving any type of thing, whatever, you know, is being exchanged between you and another person. And it could be something that's non tangible too, like love. Okay. Because that's also something that we want to give, not begrudgingly. Okay. Not just money. Okay. So it's want to really kind of get into and really talk to you about giving in general. Okay. And if you're out there, I want you to say live trauma talks. Okay. Live trauma talks. Okay. Because this is what we're doing. This is what we're going to be doing every Monday night. And we're going to try and dig into some deep topics, excuse me. And I'm going to try and be there with you and try to, help you unpack it the best that I know how. Okay. So giving without guilt. Okay. And not just giving, you guys, receiving without discomfort. Because a lot of people are very uncomfortable with receiving. It's easy to give, but they don't know how to receive. They don't know how to take it back. It feels very uncomfortable when someone else tries to help them and do for them. Okay. So if you've ever said yes when you meant no, this conversation is for you. Okay. If you've ever felt drained after helping someone, definitely this conversation is for you. Okay. Because I've been there before, feeling drained after helping someone. Okay. And if you've ever felt resentment, but didn't know why do I feel resentment? What's that all about? Okay. You're in the right place, you guys. This conversation is about boundaries, not about the cold, rigid kind, though. It's about boundaries. Okay. All right. We're talking about healthy, clear, powerful boundaries that actually deepen relationships instead of damaging them. Okay. That's the type of, healthy, clear, powerful boundaries. Okay. So if you're here live, drop a comment. I'm here live. Okay. I love to see that you're able to make it to this every Monday night at 5 o'clock. Okay. Today we were a little late, ran a little late with our meeting, but hey, we're here. That's what matters. Okay. And if you got on late, don't worry about it. You can always watch the repeat, the recording. Okay. So, all right. So let's get into it. Again, my name is Crystal Boot, and I do this weekly live event just because I want to share with you guys, and I want to have this space for us to be able to communicate every week on a Monday night, probably when you're starting your week. Hopefully, when things aren't too fast yet, and you're just kind of getting started, and you want to kind of like zero in on how you want to focus that week, what you want to focus on that week. This week we're focusing on how to give. This conversation is about boundaries. Okay, it's about boundaries. Okay, boundaries with giving. Okay, learning how to give with the right boundaries, right? Okay, that actually deepen relationships instead of damaging them, because sometimes if we don't do give with boundaries, it can damage the relationship. So I guess that's a doubt. There could be a downside to this. Okay. Even though it seems like it probably wouldn't be a downside to giving, it could actually be a downside to giving. Okay. So if you're live, drop that comment and let me know where you're watching from. Okay. And yeah, as we go, I want this to feel like a conversation, not a lecture, you guys. So that's why I want to hear from you. I don't want it to be a lecture. I don't want to lecture you on this topic. I do enough lecturing, trust me. Okay. So we're going to talk about the hidden cost of over giving. Okay. And how this leads to a lot of money problems. Okay. The hidden cost of over giving. Let's start with something really real. Okay. Many of us were taught. Okay. All right. That being generous means always being available. Okay. Always saying yes. And deep down inside, we really mean no. Okay. Always helping, always showing up. And at first, it feels really good. At first, it feels extraordinarily good. Okay. All right. You feel needed. You feel valuable. Okay. You kind of get where I'm going here. Okay. And you feel important. But over time, things start to shift. Okay. That's when the resentment starts to set in. You've ever been there before? Drop live if you have. Say been there, been there, been there, been there. Okay. All right. You start to feel tired. Okay. That's what overgiving does to you. Then stretch thin, then quietly resentful. That's the worst part. It is so quiet. You don't even notice it. Okay. And here's the part no one talks about, you guys. No one talks about this. Overgiving is often rooted in fear. Okay. A lot of people don't tell you that overgiving is rooted in fear. Deep. Okay. It's kind of deep. Okay. Fear of disappointing someone, fear of being misunderstood, fear of losing connection. So you're giving, but it's not really coming from a good place, like what God said. It's not begrudgingly. It's more of necessity. You're giving out of that necessity. Okay. And I'll give you the scripture later, but you're giving out of necessity. We'll get to that later, but I wanted to just kind of connect it, right away. So we give not always from overflow. Okay. But from obligation. You've ever been there before? Where you've given from obligation? That's big. Okay. It shouldn't cost you. It shouldn't cost you that. All right. Not always from overflow, but from obligation. Too bad. It's too bad when we get from that place. An obligation always has a cost, you guys. All right. Obligation actually has a cost. All right. Let that sink in. All right. And this is why boundaries feel so hard. So now let's talk about why boundaries feel uncomfortable. Okay. Because they do. All right. If boundaries were easy, you wouldn't be here tonight. No. For many people, boundaries feel like rejection, you guys. Okay. They feel like you're being selfish. or unkind or you feel being difficult. Okay. But that's actually not true. That's not true. Okay. All right. A boundary is not a wall. It's clarity, you guys. Boundary is clarity. All right. It's saying this is where I end and this is where you begin. Okay. All right. I want to really focus in on that with you today. It's saying I care about you, but I also care about me. That's what a boundary is doing. Because a lot of people don't think that boundaries are anything positive. They see boundaries in a negative way. But that's not true. That's not how boundaries is. Okay. If you've ever taught that you're allowed no matter what, okay? If you were never taught that you're allowed to matter, you're allowed to matter. Take that in. Stop for a minute. Okay? This is a live event. You matter. How your feelings matter, your needs matter. Okay? And of course, boundaries, they feel wrong sometimes to people who are not used to boundaries, who are not used to setting boundaries with people. Okay? They feel a little bit like uncomfortable. Like unfamiliar. It's a good way to explain it. Okay. Most of us learn how to be useful. We learn how to be useful. Okay. We didn't learn how to be whole, though. That's the problem. We learned how to be useful, but we didn't learn how to be whole. Okay. All right. So let's go further. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper, you guys. I really want to talk to you about this topic today. Okay. All right. The real reason boundaries are hard is we don't want to disappoint people. Mm-mm. We'd rather inconvenience ourselves than risk someone else being uncomfortable. Okay. All right. But here's a shift, you guys. Disappointing someone does not mean you've done something wrong. No, that's not what it means. It means they had an expectation. That's what it means. That's what it that's what it really means. Disappointing someone means they had an expectation. Sometimes an unrealistic expectation, unbeknownst to them. But sometimes they have some sort of expectation. Okay, all right, and you chose honesty over performance. Think about that for a minute. Choosing honesty because a lot of people don't choose honesty when it comes to relationships. They just choose, okay, just keep giving, hoping that things will change. But they never stop to think that the thing is going to change when you're honest. Things are going to change when you're honest. Disappointing someone does not mean you've done something wrong. So even if you disappoint someone, it doesn't mean you did something wrong. All right. And you choose honesty over performance, okay? Because that's a lot of what that giving is. It's performance-based giving. It's not real true giving from, from an authentic place. It's giving from a place of necessity, remember? All right. So that's that's maturity. When you're able to choose honesty over performance, that's true maturity. And that's major growth. Major, major growth. So that's what we want to kind of hone in today. And here's something powerful, you guys. Here's something powerful. When you stop overextending yourself, the right relationships actually get stronger. When you stop overextending yourself, the right relationships, they get stronger because now they're built on truth, not on exhaustion. Okay. The relationships are built on truth. So now you have a real authentic relationship with the other person who you want to have a relationship with. Okay. All right. That's how giving is really done. Okay. So learning to receive. Let's talk about that because we talked about giving. Let's talk about learning to receive. Okay. Because when you're able to receive properly, you're going to notice that your finances are going to increase. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Okay. Let's get into learning to receive. For some people, you would think that receiving is a simple thing. Like, why would you even need to talk about that, Crystal? Like, what's the point of saying anything about receiving? But you'd be surprised how hard it is for some people to receive because it is when you receive it kind of puts you in a little bit of a vulnerable place where you're on the other end and you have to trust someone else. Someone else. You're not in control at that moment. Yeah. So receiving can be hard for people. Isn't that deep? Yeah. Now let's talk about the part that surprises people about receiving. Some of y'all are incredible givers, like I said. But when someone offers you help, Mm-mm. You deflect. Mm-mm. You minimize. You say, no, I'm fine. Why is that? Why do you think that is when people do that? Because receiving makes you vulnerable, like I said. I already said that. It puts you in a position of need, okay? That's what it does, okay? And if you build your identity around being the strong one, being the one in control, receiving feels very unfamiliar for you, okay? But here's what changes everything, you guys, all right? You cannot pour from a cup you refuse to refill. Take that in. You cannot pour from a cup you refuse to refill. You have to refill your cup. Receiving is not weakness. No, it's partnership, it's trust, and it's balance. Okay. And when you allow yourself to receive, you give others the gift of contribution. Yes. You allow them to contribute. Yes. It changes everything. It changes everything. All right. You get a chance to rest and they get a chance to give. And then it goes back and forth. It's a reciprocal thing here. It's not a one-way street. Giving without guilt doesn't mean you stop being generous. It doesn't mean that. It means your generosity is intentional. It's intentional, you guys, okay? It means you check in with yourself before you say yes. Okay? It means you give because you want to give, okay? Not because you're afraid not to give. Get that? Because a lot of people are afraid not. What's going to happen if I don't give? They don't know. They don't know what life will be look like for them. So they get really scared. That's what I mean when I say it's coming from fear. They're giving from fear, not from true generosity. Okay, in the real sense of the word. Okay, all right. It means you give because you want to, not because you're afraid to. Remember that. Okay, and something powerful happens when you start doing this, you guys. Something really powerful happens. Your yes becomes so stronger. Your no becomes so clearer. Okay, your energy changes. Yes, it changes. You stop feeling drained. You stop feeling unseen, okay? You stop feeling that unconscious fear, okay? You stop feeling like you're carrying everything alone. You start to give some of that responsibility to other people to carry. Isn't that amazing? Okay, isn't that amazing? Take that in, yeah, because now your giving has boundaries. Your giving has boundaries. All right? And your boundaries protect your peace. They protect your peace. Okay? All right? So this is going to be a short one, you guys, but we're going to close this out today. Okay? So tonight I want you to reflect on one question. Where in your life are you giving from obligation instead of overflow? Okay? That might have something to do with why your money isn't right. Okay? Don't answer it for anyone else, though, okay? Answer it for you, okay? Because the goal isn't to give less. That's not the goal here with this live today. The goal is to give freely, freely from a place of true freedom, okay? True, authentic giving, okay? Without the guilt. Because if you're giving with the guilt, remember, you're giving begrudgingly. You're like, why am I giving? It doesn't seem like anything changes in my life. Well, maybe it's the reason you're giving. Maybe it's the motive behind your giving. Okay? The giving has a tad of resentment or fear attached to it. Think about that, okay? Without losing yourself. You have to give without losing yourself. Sometimes we lose ourselves in the giving because that's the only place we know to feel safe. Okay? If this resonated with you, you guys, I'd love to hear what stood out to you the most in this live. Okay, I'd like to hear that in the comments. Okay, and if you know someone who needs this conversation, share this with them. Okay, all right. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. That's not what they're about. They're about showing up fully without disappearing in the process. Okay, show up fully without disappearing in the process. Okay. All right. Thank you for being here, you guys. And remember, you are allowed to give, you are allowed to receive, and you are allowed to protect your peace. Okay. So this is Crystal Boop. I'm signing out. Okay. I will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining me for this wonderful weekly live. Okay. And yeah, we'll do it again next week. All right. Have a great one. Bye bye.